Hey, you guys, welcome back. We are all here. And as you can see, we have Lauren Auwood here joining us today. Hello, Lauren. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for being with us again. Today's
Of
going to
course.
be an intense one. Last week we talked about the show, The Girlfriend, and we thought it would be really cool to bring Lauren in and would really love to get her perspective on this crazy show. So, Lauren, give us your initial just feelings after watching the show.
Initially, it was like, I had empathy for Laura. And I think a lot of daughters-in-law feel some sort of empathy. They can understand. As a mom myself to two boys, I'm thinking, oh my God, what if Camden brought this girl over who like made all of my insides panic, right? And my insides are screaming that she was danger. I'm very like I was able to empathize with Laura and be like, that's a really tough spot to be in. Like that breaks my heart for her, right? And I couldn't get away from my second thought, which was, and it's his
He's grown
autonomous
up.
individual right to pursue a crazy lady if he wants to. And that's a
Hmm.
horrible thing to do and to have to watch as a parent is to watch your kids fall. And you have to let them fall, right? Because they have to
Yes.
learn, they have to grow, they have to make mistakes. So that's where Laura went wrong is that she didn't let it unfold the way it would have had she stayed out of the way because she severed that connection with her son, right? Because he was like, "You're too much," right? I think the last episode I saw, she was trying to feed him in Spain. Oh no, no, no! Oh my God, no, 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 no! The last episode
When
I
he,
saw, she was holding him in the pool, which was sort of broke my little heart, like my heart for her. Like, oh, I would do that for my kids. But you see Howard's looking like this is weird, right? You see the dad is
Right.
like, I don't think I
yeah,
like this. But then she also had the trauma of losing her other child, which certainly is informing her anxious attachment, so to speak, to her son. And again, more empathy there. But she was risking what happened, which is, I mean, not drowning or being shoved under the water, but not her son not
But
wanting
maybe.
anything to do with her. Maybe.
yes. Yeah, so you talked about to what point do we as moms like let go? This is an extreme
That's
situation. Like Cherry could kill him, Daniel, in her mind, but you just said
right.
as
And then like,
moms,
sorry. And then
uh,
like with Cherry, I flip flopped a lot. I was like, is she crazy, or is she just like kind of troubled? Like she seemed to have real feelings and sadness when it came to Daniel's accident. Like she could tell like she was devastated from her experience, and what Laura
mhm,
saw wasn't the full story. Right? Is that how they want it to seem? Is that
Yep.
it's just not the full
Yeah.
story, or is it this is the
right.
perspective? This was
I think it was the perspective. And some of the story, I think, like Laura didn't know the story that Cherry was also crossing some serious boundaries when her and Daniel were initially in the house and she was rifling through this woman's jewelry and happened to put it on,
that
right?
was yeah, that
But
was
but Laura didn't know that. Now,
unforgivable.
that was, like, not okay that she was doing that. So, initially, up front, you already see that she is not good with keeping, like, a good boundary, but Laura didn't know that part. So, I think there are parts where the other one doesn't know what's happening.
Laura knew that she took her bracelet, right? Because she found it in her purse.
Right. And I think Laura thought she stole it, but I think what actually happened is Cherry was trying it on, and then Laura came home, and she was like, "Oh my gosh," and then she went and hid, and she's like,
Mhm.
"Oh, shoot, I have this bracelet on."
Okay,
So
I
then
missed
she
that part.
tried to
Okay.
bring it, but when she went for dinner, she tried to bring it back, but then Laura saw it in her purse and was like,
Okay.
"That's my
Got it.
bracelet.
Got
She
it.
stole my bracelet." She didn't intend to steal it. It happened to walk out the house with her because she was,
Yeah,
Mhm.
rushing.
I think that they're very similar, Laura and Cherry. Did you guys get that at all? I think they're very similar in that the control, the trauma, like I will not lose another child, and Cherry's like I will not be poor, I will not be a butcher. Like I got that like that insecurity around maybe
Mhm.
poverty or trying to get out of
Mhm.
something and whatever that had done to her. So they were similar in some ways. Yeah, it was really, really good, really interesting to watch.
Yeah, we talked about those similarities in the last episode of control, and they both wanted control out of fear. They were both afraid of something out of trauma. And so you're talking about that empathy. So we had empathy to them, but also they both made choices out of those assumptions that they had made about the other person. And they made wrong choices.
Right.
we would have done the same thing had you thought, continued to think that Cherry stole the bracelet, right? You were just talking about that. Like, had you continued to think that she stole the bracelet, we'd be like, oh, well, she's just what is she doing? Taking her stuff. Like, no,
Yeah.
actually, this is what happened behind the scenes, but we don't know that. And so they all made choices based on false assumptions.
And information that they had. They didn't have all the information. I think was kind of
Yes.
the bottom line.
Except the
Neither one of
cat.
them had
Don't wanna defend
all
the
the
cat.
information.
The cat. Yes, cat.
Still wanna defend the
No.
Was
cat.
like, did I? Like, I don't love cats. I'm a dog person, but I was like, did this lady just toss a cat out the window? When I told
An
my
indoor
husband
cat.
he missed
indoor
that
cat, yeah.
part. He was like, why is she putting up posters of a cat? I was like, oh, I forgot to tell you. So she threw the cat out the window. And he's like, what? Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
Whole
that was
cat
crazy.
out of an
That was
entire
little.
window.
Yeah. And she
Yeah.
did use her butcher skills to destroy the ex's wedding. So, there was
That-
a little crazy
right.
in here. Come on. There's a little crazy.
But when
there.
it came to Daniel, there was a sincere, and I don't know if in like that character was this like her turning point where she wasn't going to be bad ever again, or if Daniel pissed her off, would she fucking lose it? And maybe we'll see that if there's more seasons,
Right.
Because with her ex, it appeared, I don't know, something weird. He seemed a little much, and who knows what actually happened with her and her ex, but she certainly wanted some revenge.
Retaliation.
For some reason.
Just definitely, I mean, even from the get-go with the cat, I think the cat was the first time that we saw retaliation with her, where she's
She
like,
did it
okay.
so easily that I was like, was it a window that the cat just went out of, or was it like I don't know. She was like, stupid cat, boom. And I was like,
Yeah,
did
didn't
that
think
cat
twice
just get
about it.
tossed?
Yeah.
Like, part of me
Didn't
was
think twice
joking when I
about it.
texted you guys, but part of me was like, did I just see was that a window? Like an actual window? Lady. I mean, I don't love cats, but I wouldn't toss one.
Thank
So,
you.
and at that point, she was new in the relationship. Like, she had really no reason to do something like that besides being
Right.
crazy.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That was the first night she met them.
Well, hold on.
Yeah,
So
there was something,
was it
right?
crazy, or was it just an instinct? You hurt me, I'm gonna hurt you. And
I
she
think
just
that's what it was, but there was
worked
something
on
that happened with the mom
right?
where she felt.
She dumped she spilled on her.
That's
Yes.
right.
She spilled on her. That's
and
right.
then
So
the
from
cat
Laura's
scratched her.
perspective, right?
So
And
I
even
just
like from
wondered-
Laura's perspective, she was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so, very apologetic."
Yeah.
But from Cherry's perspective, she was like, "Oops."
Yeah.
let me
Right.
pour hot drink on you.
Yes.
On the dress that you basically bought and kept the tags on so you could return it and appear to have money that you did not have.
Yeah.
And like I am like woman empowerment. Like, you got it, you wear it, but like the boobies with the
We
father-in-law,
talked
like,
about that last week.
Yeah.
Like,
I was like,
who wears that?
this is
They
making
meet
me
the parents.
And
Yeah.
I'm super not approved. Like, cool, but like
Hey.
something, maybe there's a little bit of me that's like, oh, like, don't show your boobies. You just met them.
Yeah.
Right. And I think we
We have
talked about that
choices.
too. Like, okay, if you want to show your boobies, great. You're on like the French Riviera, show everything. Who cares? You're with your partner, but not the first time you meet his parents. Like, what
But I
message
think
are
she
you
was-
sending?
She was clearly sending a message of like, do what I want. Like, I know if people probably wouldn't be wearing
Yeah.
this, and I know I probably shouldn't be, but like, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I think you're right. And
Yeah.
she
So
definitely
let's-
had a.
Well, there's consequences to that. People make a certain assumptions about you when you wear stuff like that. Sorry, girl. They just
And
do.
I loved the dress. Like, wear it to
Yeah.
clubbing, wear it to dinner with your girl, wear it to
Yeah.
anywhere except a small dinner in a house, meeting your parents' father and mother for the first time. Like, there's just other things. There's other options.
Hey, that's what Kathy said. You have so many options on what you can put on that body. Why are you choosing that?
Yeah.
So let's bring it home into the people that you see, and maybe is there any kind of theme that is similar to what we're talking about, that can really kind of bring it on obviously a smaller scale. They took it to the extreme, but is there, just talk into that about assumptions that we make, choices that we make as daughter-in-laws, as mother-in-laws that you see.
I think what did happen with Laura and Cherry, that I don't know if I'm actually answering your question, so forgive
That's
me
okay.
if
Whatever
you need more
comes
from
to
this,
mind.
but Laura, at some point, maybe it's when she saved Cherry from drowning or almost drowning. At what point were they both like,
Drowning because she knows how to swim.
that part? That was
Find
the
that
part
out later.
She
that
knows
was
how
the
to
part where I
swim.
was like, oh my God, Cherry, I was feeling for you. You lied
Manipulative.
to me. Yeah. Right. Okay. So at that part, at some point, they sort of came close. She was like,
They
wrong
connected
foot,
for sure.
redo. That never has happened And I think I can say that confidently. I don't think that has ever happened in real life with the daughters-in-law that I have worked with. Don't
Well,
Wow.
remember a
maybe none of the
single time.
daughters-in-law that you work with
That
have
is
ever
so
pretend to drown in front of their mother-in-law
True.
when they could actually
But there's
swim.
never been a, you know,
Yeah,
I'm so
the
sorry
comeback
for my part in this, or I can see
redo.
how things got off, or I've never heard that.
we can just sit in that a second, you guys. Jeez,
Yeah,
that
that's
is sad. Why do the work?
And this is years of, like I've talked about, like it's years of forgetting or forgiving or hoping for a different day, or maybe it was this or maybe it was that, or it's the people that I get to when they come to work with me, like I've said, are years into this. It's not just like a fresh relationship,
Hmm.
you know.
how do we change that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, how, how do we change that? That's kind of the goal of this podcast. Something's got to give.
Yeah, typically, I mean, there's a
So,
couple different ways, but like the men, the husband, the son, they play a very big part in it.
Let's
You know,
talk
it's
about
Okay.
it.
it's sort of, I
Yeah,
don't know
dive into that deeper.
I don't
Yeah.
know if Daniel gets to this, but he sort of does with his actions at what I saw of like, enough. Like you can't do this. Like I am not okay anymore with this. This all might be true, right? You might have every reason to not like her, whatever, but I will not allow this anymore. This is not okay. That's the missing piece that can make all the difference, I think.
Yeah,
So
and
do
Daniel
you
does get to that. I mean, Daniel does get to that point. He says to my mom, my mom, to his mom, I choose her. I'm choosing her. I am so sorry. And they have this moment where she's like, I get it. I understand. I wish you well. Now she's all the time planning to play this
right.
tape
Now
that
let me
she has.
drug you so I
Now let
can
me drug
change your
you.
mind.
Yeah, she doesn't accept it. I mean, she literally won't accept the son standing up to her.
Well, right. And there were times when, he's 27 and I think I was engaged. How old was I when I got married? I don't know. He wasn't 21. He wasn't,
Right.
and she was
Mhm.
like, "Oh my God, you're moving out and you're on your own." And there's clearly so much trauma and the anxious
Right.
attachment from
Right.
what she went through with Rose. But it was like, it made me think of the notion that I think, tell me what you guys think about this because you have children-in-laws. The idea that this girl or boy is marrying into your family versus your son or daughter is starting their own family.
I think Carrie says it perfectly. I'll let you do it, Carrie, of when Kayla joined and how that switched. So you tell Lauren that.
Mhm. Yeah, so my son was 21 and daughter-in-law 20 when they got married. My first one, didn't have a clue what I was doing, and that was my thinking. "Oh, she gets to come into this family. She's gonna be doing what we do. One more addition to we get to keep going, keep doing what we're doing, and she just gets to come on in, Kayla, to what we're already doing." That was my mentality. That's not what it is now, 10 years later.
Mm,
But yeah, that was my thinking. And how does
right.
that allow them to have their own family? So they did have to be harder and not harsh, but have a hard conversation with me. And it was not fun and it
No.
broke my heart and it strained the relationship for a long time.
Would you do anything differently?
Absolutely. Yes. Hindsight, it was new. They were young. I was young too. But yes, see her more for who she is and
Yeah.
allow them to go do and be curious to what kind of family they want to have now rather than just you are coming here because then when she would go do things with her family, it felt weird.
Yeah.
You should be here with us.
Right.
Why are
Right. And
you?
there's this, and it makes sense. You've had this kid their whole life, right? Like this has been your whole chapter, your whole life for
Uh-huh.
20 years in your instance, right? So obviously it's like muscle memory. Like, of course, this is my family now. Now my family's changing, but it totally erases the woman in this instance. It totally erased that this person also has a whole story and a whole family, right? And I think that's what daughters-in-law feel often is like, hello, like I'm here. I existed before, I exist now, and I'm gonna keep existing. There's just a total wash of it. In a lot of ways I can understand it because you're in this mindset for years of this is my son. And then I imagine even planned can feel pretty abrupt when things change. But there's a very harmful idea with the older generations that this is my family, you're marrying into my family. Like in some definitions, sure, family tree, yeah, sure, you're now added to this family tree in some way, but that whole mindset I think is pretty harmful.
Mhm. Yes.
I think that also is part of the problem with this show is that no one had the honest conversation with the right intentions with Daniel. Cherry didn't, the mom didn't. They basically told Daniel.
Dad didn't.
The dad didn't. They basically told Daniel what the story was, and Daniel was left like he had no clue and he's wandering around. And it
Yeah.
wasn't, hey, we're in this together and what do you think? And everybody told half truths to Daniel and to their friends. And so I think that also contributed to the blow up. Is it was just again so much manipulation.
Because although Laura was thinking, I don't want my son to be killed or hurt or in danger, right? Everything she did was really self-serving. And everything Cherry did was really self-serving. It was for
Correct.
them.
Correct.
Daniel wasn't even, now it was like, I want my safety, right? My security. Cherry's like, I need to marry into this money. There's money here, right? This townhouse,
Mhm.
whatever they bought, right? And I guess she liked him too, but that was like, I need this. I need to survive. This is how I survive. So I'll do anything to survive. And
Well, and you
Laura was like, I will not lose another child. So I will do whatever it takes to survive.
For me.
So in that was lost, yeah, for them. For them. In that, Daniel was lost.
Those were
you see
their
that
desires.
And you see that in the first episode when Daniel decides he's going to be a trauma surgeon, I think is what he decided to be or whatever it was. And the mom said, Laura says, "Oh no, honey, remember you're going to be a pediatrician because of your sister." And then Cherry looks at her, "No, this is I think it's amazing. He's going to be a trauma surgeon. It's going to be fabulous." So you see that battle for control, but you also see that battle for their self-serving because Laura
Mhm.
wanted it to honor the daughter. Cherry wanted it to I don't know
Mhm.
why Cherry wanted it, but she wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of
And
that
even
is shocking.
sorry. Yeah, because even Laura in that conversation says, that's not what we decided."
Decided, yeah.
How old is he? Are you gonna let him make his own decisions? Like, come on. So much enmeshment
I totally
going
saw
on in
like
that
with some moments
relationship.
with Cherry where I was like, I get it. She's looking around like, "Fuck," like you could tell that she's like, this is too much. And I was like,
Mhm.
I'm connecting with, I think, a little bit of a sociopath. So I feel weird about that because I'm like,
Yeah,
yeah,
right.
it is a little bit
Mhm.
of too much, Cherry. You're right.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
mean, I definitely went back and forth on who I had the most empathy for, but I had empathy as I was sharing last week that because I lost a son, I get that panic of I must protect my other children. And I think that also I had abuse in my childhood. So then I get Cherry's perspective of her father abusing her. And I'm like, well, I'll take anybody down that tries to hurt me because no one protected me. So I'm just going to protect myself. So
Mhm. Mm.
so I found
Yep.
myself just going
Yep.
back and forth to these characters and who
Yeah.
I had empathy for because I could see both of
Right.
their pain being so on display so brilliantly and horribly at the
Yes.
same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it hit
Absolutely.
those places on a grand scale, but it hit those places that where we could relate.
And I
Mhm.
think it obviously did its job, which I imagine is you never really know where someone has come from, what they've been
Mhm.
through, how that
Mhm.
impacts them. And you can understand each person's experience to an extent, right? You can imagine, I was putting myself in her shoes and I'm like, oh my God, I don't know who I would become if I lost a child. Like,
Mhm.
I don't
You
know. I
would
might do whatever it takes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, I think it did a great job of having the watchers challenge that of like, wow,
Mhm.
what would I do in this experience? Like,
Yeah.
I'm so sure that if my 27-year-old son came to dinner with a boo-boo on his leg, I wouldn't start licking a fucking towel and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
pampering him. But I don't
Yeah.
know. If I lost another
Yeah.
baby to something, maybe
Yeah.
I would freak
Yeah.
out and be like, oh my God, let me fix you.
So
I would
bringing
love
it back to your
sorry.
practice and the people that you talk to, is empathy part of that conversation? Probably, but how
Hmm.
much of empathy is part of that conversation? Because just what you said a few minutes ago about how you have never seen restoration is mind blowing to me. So, what part is empathy playing in those conversations?
Like me to my students or my clients?
To them toward their mother in laws.
There is some. There's certainly they come with some. Like I can understand what it's like. I imagine it's
Hmm.
hard. They're able to access this self-awareness and empathy that I can put myself in this person's shoes, and I bet it's awful. It's the thing is, it's like there's never a debate about the feelings that a mother-in-law is having a tough time with this. It's the behavior that is the problem, right? Like, feel it, be devastated, grieve your kid, be upset, be pissed that it's changing and you don't want it to, and all of that things, and do that with your therapist or your girlfriends. But you better hide it if you want to maintain a healthy relationship with your kid.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's not going to end well. Either your kid is going to divorce and resent you forever or eventually, or just cut you off.
Yeah. So consequences to choices that these mother-in-laws and daughter-in-laws are making
Right.
for the relationship, not for the relationship. And if they're both battling control, everyone's going to lose. You're going to
Right. And
lose.
with empathy, it's to go back to your question a little bit, it's we can understand it, right? But it does not excuse it. It does not allow it.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
can accept that that's what's happening for you. I can imagine this is really hard, and that does not make it okay, and that does not mean I'm going to allow you to keep treating me this way.
Mm-hmm. Laura
So
need
I'm
therapy. She needed therapy. Cherry needs therapy.
absolutely. I don't
Well,
think I
So
don't think either of them
yeah.
ever got therapy. I don't think either of
No.
them ever got therapy. No.
No.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Lauren, let's put this hat on. If you were Cherry's therapist and she did
Ooh.
approach you for therapy, what would you have advised her to do?
Oh my God, I would have loved to work with Cherry. Well, we would have, I would have, I think I would have thrown her off and been like, we need to talk about the day you were born to now. And she would
Mm-hmm.
have been like, what? Right. And I imagine as we unpacked her little cherryness and what was little cherry like and what a little cherry need, she would things would click differently and she would start to experience herself differently in her relationships, and hopefully her behaviors would then reflect new values, or she would stop being in survival mode, probably do some
Mm-hmm.
EMDR for the trauma she
Mm-hmm.
experienced.
Mm-hmm.
But and then with Laura it would be about the loss of her daughter. So she would come in, right? So these two ladies would come in and they'd be like, I'm here because my daughter in law is an asshole. She's crazy, right? And it'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. And then they would be like, so let's talk about the loss of your daughter that you've never
Yeah.
really brought up. And it's very like,
Right.
why? Right. And it's kind of like, well, just trust me. Let's just go
Yeah.
there for a little bit.
Right. That
So
has nothing to do with the situation. That has nothing to do with her. No, actually.
nothing.
Yeah.
Actually, it has everything to do with this situation.
You do see a
It's
glimpse.
never about what it's about. That's one of my favorite things to say is it's never
like that.
about what it's about, ever.
Mm-hmm.
You do see a glimpse of Laura's tenderness in that moment where they do connect and go shopping and when she buys her all these
Yeah.
things. And she does say, I always dreamed of doing this with a
Having
daughter.
a daughter.
And that pain does bubble up and present itself, but
Mhm.
then nothing is done with it towards healing. And I think
And you can
often,
see, no, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, I think that's often the problem with many of us and many relationships. That pain does get triggered in us. And so we react. And sometimes it might be in tenderness, not often. More often, it's in anger. Especially it bubbles up that emotion. And unfortunately, rarely does it go tender like it did with Laura in that moment. More
Mm-hmm.
often, it goes towards the anger, towards the insecurity, towards
Yeah.
the control.
Yeah.
But you think, gosh, that was a missed opportunity right there. And I wonder how many times we do make those mistakes, right? And I think, gosh, if we could just stop that when it's bubbling up, if we too could remember that tenderness when it does show, could we take it further? Could we learn from it? Could we be self-aware?
And I just wanted to say, I feel like Cherry was softening too. I feel like she was like, oh, this is what it could
Yes.
be like to be taken care of and to trust
Yes.
somebody and to let this person in. Like there was
Mm-hmm.
definitely that moment for them.
They were close.
But I would love to ask you ladies, what is it like? What does it mean to you that your son, I think you all have sons, right?
Well,
Mm-hmm.
we have daughters. Carrie and I have daughters and sons, but yeah, we
Just
all
have
sons.
sons.
Oh, you just have sons. What does it mean when your child is marrying?
I have two that are marrying next year and then two that are already married. Now, right? Now it's a beautiful thing. I see it in a different way. I do. And it's fun to watch and see what kind of family, what they're going to choose, how they're going to choose to spend their time. Do they go to church or not? Like what kind of community they have. So it's a shift from that initial situation now. And I'm thankful because this podcast has helped me have that different kind of perspective of, yeah, it's hard to let go, but also they're calling me. they're texting me. I got a text last night from my
That's
son who's
not
getting
but
married next year.
that is not on accident. Like, let me be the one to say that is because of the way you are parenting them. You are still parenting them. Parenting adult children looks like that. It looks like a soft place to land. It looks like unconditional support, right? So when your kids are calling you when they're adults and they don't really need you, but they kind of want you and they need you in certain ways,
Mm,
that is not it didn't just happen, right? It's directly related to the way you make them feel.
And directly related to the work you put in when they were younger, which you did.
Can I ask what was the thought before, like when you experienced it the first time when one of your children was in their 20s and young 20s and got married? What did it mean when it was, okay, my child's getting married? What was the so it means this?
well, our situation was different because I raised him by myself. I was by myself, single parent, and Taylor was the oldest, and so he played a different role. Tried not to say, "Hey, you're the man of the house." Like, I didn't intentionally do that. It just became that because he was the oldest one. So he had a huge role in the family, and so for him to get married so young, and I didn't accept it. And I think that's why I was like, hey, she's going to be part of this close knit circle that we already have, right? This isn't going to change. She's just going to come and be a part of it.
Mm.
I think I
Mhm.
had to do that because it was too heartbreaking to see it as the healthy version. You're going to leave this family and go have your own. Like that was way too painful for me. I wasn't ready for that. I didn't know how to handle that. That's the healthy way, like I said. But that's what it was like in the beginning. That first time. It was hard.
What about you, Alicia? Because your boys are married, right?
Yes, ish.
Potatoes.
We have so yeah, our oldest is married and our youngest has a family with his fiance partner. But my oldest got so like early on when Andrew brought us a home, it's like to meet us and I started realizing this looks like it could be a serious thing. It was when he chooses someone, I'm going to lose him. And we had a really rough time with Andrew when he was younger. So the fact that had kind of come around, we were starting to rebuild our relationship. That was even scarier to me. So I'm like, we missed all this time with you. And now you're healthy and we're starting to rebuild this relationship and you're about to choose her. And once you choose her, I'm going to lose you. Right. So that was really hard for me. So that was always kind of my perspective is that like, I'm going to lose him. Like it was
It was
almost
a
kind of
loss.
like,
It was not
Mhm.
gaining anything. It was a loss. But
no.
where did you get where did you get the idea that it would be you would lose him? Where did that come from? Like where does that
Um,
come from?
well, I think part of it was because of all of my friends who were trash talking their mothers-in-law. And so I was suddenly on this hunt to figure out, like, I mean, I would like depose my friends. Like, okay, so what does she do? What does she do that's so awful? Why do you need Tito's? What does she say? What is she like?
Yeah.
What is
Yeah.
going so wrong that you like really, really don't like her, hate her, like whatever. I'm like, just tell me because I don't want to be that person. And they would consistently tell me, don't worry about it. You're not going to be like that. I know you. You're not like that, whatever. But I could be like that. Right. They just like when you're in that situation, you deal with all the feelings and sometimes you don't make great choices. And sometimes you say things that aren't really meant the way they come out. So that is kind of, I think I feel like I got that idea that's kind of where the idea came in, and then I started kind of taking an inventory of, okay, well, what about me? I mean, like, what is it? The life and the wife thing, right? A daughter
Yeah.
is a daughter for the rest of your life. A son is a son until he finds a wife, right? And then I started
Mhm.
taking inventory of like all the people I know and what was their relationship with their mother-in-law and how did she fit in to their family? And what about me? What about my mother-in-law? She's passed a long time ago. Like, was that true? Was that how it worked for us? Was that how it worked for my mom? And consistently over and over, I was finding that the mother in law was not like embraced. I had a fantastic mother in law, by the way. All these other people, they were like the mothers in law were not invited in. They were kind of like cut out, even if they weren't like no contact, because that wasn't really a thing back when our kids were young.
So it seemed like the mother-in-law's mothers-in-law were cut out, but it was there was a reason
Like pushed away. Right. Yeah. Like some of my friends said, well,
because of their behaviors.
behavior, right. It would be like, well, For one, they could actually remember my kids' names. I'm like, "Oh, how can you not remember your grandkids' name?" Oh, or, "Hey, how about when they come into town, they don't just, like, pop in and say hi and, like, leave a bunch of stuff for us to deal with and then leave."
Mhm.
Yeah, it was like they were making things harder or again, like the connection with the son. "Oh, he never does anything wrong. Like, he's so great and blah,
Mm.
blah, blah." And meanwhile, like, maybe you have issues with your husband that you're trying to deal with. You don't really wanna hear that about him.
Right.
And,
Right.
What's so interesting to me is that how when you first started talking, you were talking about your feelings about Andrew and what you went through with him and how you were like, "We just got him back. I don't wanna lose him again."
Yeah.
That's legit. And then me talking about how I raised 5 kids by myself. Taylor played a huge role in that. This is like, we're speaking out of fear and
Yeah.
trauma,
Yeah.
just like the
Mhm.
show. Just
Mhm.
like the show. Same thing. People
Like,
don't know that, though.
it's already made up. It's already been
Mhm.
decided that I will lose my child when they get married.
And they can be
Yeah.
perceived as, "Oh, she's just trying to control. She's just trying," when really you flip it, like, "No, this was actually going on in the background. This is actually why, and there's reasons
Yeah,
for
and
it."
it's and for you all, like, as you were daughters-in-law, like, in your role as a daughter-in-law, I never thought, "Yay, I get to rip my husband away from his family, and I get to take
Right,
control." Like,
right.
it's never no one's ever it's just like, "Yay, I get to get married and have babies," right? And, like, have a good time and hope to love everybody and be loved in return. There's not this it's just interesting how,
Yeah,
it's
and
very
honestly, like,
rare that a daughter-in-law.
Mhm.
with my mother-in-law, because I would look back and my husband and I moved. So our whole family's from St. Louis, and we were in the military overseas, and then he finally got out, and he wanted to move back to St. Louis with his family, right? So we moved back there. My family was there too. 2 years later, we moved away. It didn't even cross my mind that that was gonna be really hard for his mom, having her son move back away, and we had 2 kids at that point. And then even when we were in Atlanta making our own life, it just never crossed my mind that it could be really sad for her that we never came back for Thanksgiving. We never like, it took a while before it was 5 years before we went back to St. Louis because there were some hard feelings among other family members, but it never, like, I just never thought, like, "Wow, that must be really hard for," it just never crossed my mind. But looking
Because
back
you were
and
doing the
now being a
self-serving
mother-in-law,
part.
now being in that
Yeah.
position, it grieves me. I'm like, "Oh, I wish I would have done so many things different for her," you know?
Have any thoughts
So,
on all that?
Y'all covered it. I think that's yeah, I probably had all those feelings.
Mhm.
And are a little different,
Yeah.
because I had some adult kids and, I however many daughters-in-law come, but our stories are different than that, but I had some of those same emotions for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
just noticed there's this theme of amongst mothers-in-law that it's a loss. I'm gonna lose my son.
Mine
It's
wasn't
over.
mine wasn't that. Mine is more probably I'm the matriarch of the family kind of thing. And I think because I still have kids at home at the same time, and you did too, as the older ones are getting married. I don't know where I fit in, to be honest, of all that, because I didn't have the loss thing though. I didn't see it as a loss. I probably was more of I see it as a gain. Oh yay, we get another, add another daughter-in-law. But
Mhm.
I think I'm an intimidating mother-in-law at first because I am very much around traditions and, I love to host and I love to go all out. And so I think
Mhm.
that I'm intimidating to my girls when they,
well,
choose
you
my
have a really
son.
strong personality too,
I do
Kath,
have a strong
you know?
personality, yeah, and I recognize that. I mean, I know a couple of girls have told me that I definitely scared them, at first, and so I have to really, I'm learning to be softer, and I love to get to know people, so I always ask questions when you come to visit me. I will quiz the hell out of you, and so my kids now, like, warn people when they bring them home, "Mom, please don't ask her 20 questions."
My
"I
kids
want to
talk about that
know her."
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
"Tell me your story."
yes, you have
Yeah.
siblings, and what's your favorite food, and
Right.
you
Yeah.
studying, and I get so
That's
excited to
so
get to know you.
nice. Do you guys know
Yeah.
that the daughters-in-law I work with don't get asked questions?
Do they
I
Like,
have
not
a
that is
wanna
the thing.
spreadsheet. It has all of them on there. What's their favorite
There's
flower? What's their favorite
no
I
coffee?
there
bet.
What's their
is
I know I
Yeah.
have notes in my
there's
Oh, there's
phone
so
of
many.
what's the concert they wanna go to or what's their favorite cake. I have notes in my phone for them.
That's
Y'all are amazing.
beautiful. But, like,
Your
No,
kids
it's
Yeah.
that
are.
that stuff is what cushions the ruptures that inevitably happen in
Yes.
relationships.
Mhm.
And that's kind of where I took, like, and we had talked about that at lake weekend one time, that I felt like it was before we even started the podcast that I knew there were gonna be hiccups along the way, right? Because I also have a strong personality. Things that I say that came across wrong or things that I thought, I'm like, oh, that was dumb to even say that out loud. Like my intention is never to hurt, won't say never, but rarely to hurt anyone, right? If I do something, it's usually out of ignorance. And so my goal was to put so many deposits into my daughters-in-law that when there was that withdrawal that happened, there was enough cushion in there that they were like, okay, but there's all this other
She loves
good
me.
stuff, right? She loves me. Yeah, that was really hurtful that she said that, but like, they kind of like give me a pass, right? And hopefully I invite them all to do this. Like, if there's something that I hurt your feelings or said anything or anything like that, please, please, please come tell me and let's have a conversation about it, because it's never my intention to hurt you. I'm stupid. I say stupid things. I'm not perfect. I do stupid things. Please let
Same.
me own up to that if it hurts you and make it right.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think speaking into the mother-in-laws right now, if you are a mother-in-law and you haven't gone to therapy in any way, or it's been a while, maybe revisit that, because that trauma's there. That trauma, the body keeps
Especially if a
score.
cherry walks in your door. If a cherry
Yeah,
walks in your
girl.
door, you
Like
run to
those
therapy first.
triggers, those fears, those
You're going to feel it,
insecurities that
and you'll know it when you feel it, that you need to get yourself on
get into
psychologytoday.com
therapy.
and do some
Yes.
filtering and find yourself a therapist.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
true.
because that'll come out and ooze out in all of our relationships, no matter how hard we try. And daughters-in-law, future daughters-in-law, same goes for you too. Like those traumas that happened when you were a kid, we all have them. They're not going to go away just because you have this new hope of this new relationship and I'm going to have a baby one day and it's all going to be, that will follow you into those relationships and it gets ugly.
Yep.
It really does. So I feel like, if anything we learn from this show is that we need therapy and help. If you come away
Amen.
with nothing else from this
Amen.
episode,
And Lauren, happens to
Everybody,
be a therapist.
nobody.
yeah.
Yes. No single person would not benefit from someone
Agree.
to listen to. No.
Crazy
Yeah.
show.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts? All right, girls, anything from you? You want to wrap it up?
I think
Wrap
you
it
just
up.
did with the go to therapy.
That's your small deposit.
All deposit.
Yeah.
Get your R's to
Yep.
therapy.
Yeah.
Had
For
these
sure.
two girls done that in the very beginning, none of that would have happened. Yeah, so much about this show that initially, if you watch it, I went into it being like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. She's crazy. And then it's like, oh, wait a second. I feel that. I can relate to that. So it was a brilliantly written show for
Yeah.
this topic. I think they approached it in a way, and whoever did write the script knows
Robin
so
Wright.
much about.
Laura.
Did she really?
Laura
She
wrote
did?
it. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wow.
knows
I didn't know
about
Kudos
this
to her.
relationship dynamic in a way that I have never seen. So it was pretty cool
Yeah,
perspective.
that'd be interesting. Yeah. Well, good. Thanks,
Yes.
Lauren. We love
Yeah,
having
thank
you
you.
on here, Lauren. You add so
Yes.
much.
I
Thank you for
love
being
being
here.
here.
Yeah,
Of
thanks for
course.
this discussion, and we will see you all next week.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Ciao.